On a beautiful day at the Nürburgring for the European Grand Prix, race 9 of the season. I should tell you, Murray Walker's taking a little breather from the next couple of races as part of his retirement year. So we join Martin Brundle and say a very good afternoon to James Allen.
Though certainly the Hakkinen versus Michael Schumacher story we've had in the last 3 years is evolving. It's changing, it's twisting. But let's not rule out Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard and the McLaren team. Off the pace yesterday in qualifying. You can see them there in fifth and sixth places on the grid, but they have certainly got a better race car under them than they have a qualifying car. It's been a real Achilles heel this year qualifying for them, but come Sunday afternoon we've seen time and time again they really believe they can pose a threat here this afternoon.
Most of the cars I can see out of the window here are running scrubbed, used tyres, so they're obviously pretty much expecting in this temperature of today to have to lean quite heavily on those tyres. We've got a track temperature of 34 degrees centigrade. Somebody a little bit slow away there. It was Heidfeld, I think, a little bit slow away, but not falling. We got one car
stationed on the grid.
Yeah, obviously that's European Minardi. It's Marquez we can now see from the front camera view, but Marquez anyway was last on the grid, so nothing lost at all for him there then. But the big problem, James, and Ross didn't say so, if they can't fix Michael Schumacher's car, if he does have a squabble on lap 1 and there's a red flag, I think they'll have to take Barrichello's car off of him to give to Michael.
Yes, and of course we have seen it here before many times. We remember the 1999 Pedro Diniz accident where he rolled over, 97 where Ralf Schumacher in a Jordan took out his brother Michael in a Ferrari. First corner incidents are very common here at the Nürburgring, and as you say, Martin, it'll give them some problems if they do not have that spare ready. Ironically, of course, Rubens Barrichello, Michael Schumacher's teammate at Ferrari, on his home Grand Prix had the same thing happen to him. His race car broke down on the parade lap.
So every 10 kilos of fuel you carry around this circuit costs you a quarter of a second per lap, and they could be running as much as 25 to 30 kilos more, let's say 3/4 of a second per lap more fuel than the cars immediately around them.
1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights. You know what happens next. Go! Fantastic start by Michael Schumacher. Ralph's got a good one too, and Montoya's going well. Rubens didn't get away so well. The two McLarens are attacking him, and it looks like Montoya's taken the wide side. But down into the first corner, Michael Schumacher holds the line. It's Williams 2 and 3, and then it's the McLarens behind. Rubens Barrichello, a big loser in all of that.
Yes, Barrichello appeared to move at the right time, but just did not get bite from those rear tyres. The engine seemed to just bury itself in the traction control. Rubens losing momentum all the way down to the first corner. Coulthard around one side of him, Hakkinen around the other. They are currently 4th and 5th, but look at the lead Michael has already.
Yeah, that certainly looks as though he's going to run away and hide this afternoon. That's one of the tactics around here. Run light, about 60, 70 kilos of fuel, when the others are fat with fuel, 90, 100 kilos. That's about a second a lap if you can get away from them, and you need to build that margin in order to be able to make your pit stop around about the mid-lap 20s. It's all to play for here, and we're hoping we're going to see a mixture of strategies. It'll be a very, very interesting afternoon if we do. Jordan well up there as well. That must be Jarno Trulli. Looks like he's in about 6th place on board with Juan Montoya.
Coming down then to the Vidal chicane. Remember, they'll be braking earlier now because they have a lot more fuel on board. The brakes not fully up to the 700-degree operating temperature they need to haul their 600 kilo cars, plus whatever fuel load they're carrying, down to the 60 miles an hour so they need through. But everybody safely then around the first lap so far. Yes, the rubber sort of rolls up, and it's like driving on ball bearings, actually, not quite as severe, of course. And Coulthard there with plenty of opposite lock coming out of turn 2. But look, Michael Schumacher already into 4. James, surely he's on a lower fuel load. Michael really attacking the racetrack. He knows, we all know from Canada and other Grand Prix, of course, just how much fuel they can get in that Williams and how far they can go.
Yes, it's a big subject of debate this season, of course, the size of the fuel tanks. Ferrari have opted for one that's about 150 litres, which is considerably bigger than the one on your car you have at home, no doubt, but big enough for a Formula 1 car. But McLaren and Williams, slightly bigger one. As we look again at the onboard of Montoya at the start.
So watch then Michael Schumacher in front, look, really squeezing Ralf. Ralf had to get out of the throttle. Michael, we've seen him pull some very dramatic and aggressive start line moves. That one, I think, was fair and reasonable, but a little bit unfriendly, but it made it pay off for him.
Yes, Yes, and you can see the Minardi there going across the sand, collecting a little bit of beach memorabilia. A little bit of work going on Rubens Barrichello's front wing, hope nothing too serious, as Michael Schumacher crosses the start-finish line, and he's really piling on the pressure now, trying to make a break away from his brother. His last lap was a 1:19.613, just 0.2 of a second faster than Ralf Schumacher, and that's not consistent with carrying a considerable amount more fuel, so it's all evolving nicely here. Michael Schumacher leading from his brother Ralf, with Montoya still third, Coulthard fourth, Hakkinen fifth, Trulli currently leading that one with Heidfeld, Raikkonen and Frentzen up there. The BARs are having a nightmare of a day. Villeneuve is 12th and Panis is down in 17th place. And then of course you've got the third race, which is the Arrowses, the Jaguars, etc. Irvine currently winning that one. He's in 11th place, mixing it with the Jordans and the BARs.
Right, the Michelins are in the zone. It's just happening as they said it would, as you see Bertie then coming in the Prost Acer, clearly out of sync, out of schedule. He would not normally be coming in at the end of lap 13. But the two fastest cars easily on the track last time around was Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. Second and third place men both in the BMW Williams on the Michelins. And now let's see it over the line this time. And he takes another half second out of Michael's lead. So Michael Schumacher now 2.3 seconds in the lead from Ralf Schumacher. And, well, Ferrari then under pressure.
Yes, they certainly are under pressure. We've seen it before. We saw it 2 weeks ago in Montreal, where Michael Schumacher led with his brother Ralf bearing down on him, breathing down his neck throughout the entire race. On that occasion, Ralf chose not to make any kind of passing manoeuvre. He looked a few times, but he didn't make the move. Today, will he be bolder if he gets the chance?
Tends to here, and Montoya now matching Ralf Schumacher's pace, although he's now a full 10 seconds adrift of the leading battle, but pulling 9 seconds clear of fourth place man Coulthard. And now you can see the gap for yourselves. It was 0.8 according to the chrono last time around. And Ralf, remember in Canada, the last Grand Prix, his fastest lap was a full 0.8 of a second faster than anybody else in the Grand Prix. And just look at the pressure he's giving Michael Schumacher.
Germany is on its feet. Here we go. It's the Schumacher brothers are at it again. The duel is joined. Ralf is attacking Michael into the Vidal chicane, which was designed by Michael Schumacher as an overtaking opportunity. He had the foresight to know he would need it in the future in his Formula One career, and he certainly used it to good effect many times in the past. But will his brother use it this time round? He's got a good drive out of the Coca-Cola curve. He's lining his brother up. It's not a good place to pass, but will he do it? Not this time round, but the Vidal chicane next time round, that is going to be interesting. Ralf Schumacher just biding his time, having a look at his brother, and you could see Michael looking in the wing mirrors both times. Very distracting for a driver, I'd imagine, when you're trying to look forwards.
I would think they're wondering if they're going to change their strategy, and we don't know how much fuel they've got on board, of course. We can only surmise. And Ralf, he's got to let his team worry about that. He's just got to concentrate, not make any mistakes, and be there to pressurise and punish Michael if he makes a mistake. And at the moment, he can't stay with him through turns 8 and 9 to be anywhere near striking distance down into that Vidal.
Well, at the moment, these two very much in a race of their own, but matching them for pace is Juan Montoya. He's 8 seconds behind, but he's running the same sort of lap times. In fact, last time through, he was actually faster than this pair, but everybody else is being left in their wake. Coulthard, Hakkinen, Trulli and Barrichello all lapping well into the 1:20 bracket, whereas the front boys are in the low 19s. So it very much is a battle between Schumacher's Ferrari, Schumacher's Williams and Montoya's Williams. Let's not rule him out, because anything can happen in this motor race, and Montoya certainly knows about endurance. He's raced in America. He knows about the long haul. It ain't over till it's over, or the fat lady sings, or whatever you want to call it. And there is Juan Montoya in third place, just 8 seconds now behind the leading duo. Yes, Eddie Irvine pressuring Heinz-Harald Frentzen for a top 10 position. Michael Schumacher leads after 23 laps of this European Grand Prix. His brother Ralf is pressing him 0.3 of a second behind. Then it's Montoya third, Coulthard fourth, Hakkinen fifth, and Jarno Trulli holding station in 6th place. Lap 25 of the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. Nothing has changed. Michael Schumacher is 0.4 of a second ahead of his brother Ralf, with Fernando Alonso in the Minardi just moving out of their way into the pit lane. He was going to become lap traffic, but you can see him there just scuttling off into the pits. Juan Montoya still charging hard in third place, 5 seconds behind the leading duo, with Coulthard in 4th place, 24 seconds adrift now, and Hakkinen and his teammate in the second McLaren, 37 seconds adrift.
So a new outright worldwide lap record then for Montoya last time around, a 118.553. Quicker than the 97 cars with far more apparent downforce, wider slicks, full slick tyres. That's how much progress they've made. And Montoya, the gap down to just 4.7 seconds now. He will be joining that party very soon. Coulthard now 20 seconds behind Montoya. Hakkinen a further 13 seconds behind Coulthard. McLaren having a dismal afternoon at the moment. We're sure they must have started on heavy fuel load, so they'll come back into the reckoning a little bit later on, but they have not got the pace around this circuit to match these two cars.
They're going to do well if they can get back into the reckoning, I think, even if they are carrying absolutely enormous quantities of fuel. We know that the Ferrari fuel tank is about 150 litres. The McLaren, I think, is about 15 litres more, so it's not all that much, and the Williams about another 10 on top of that. That's certainly something that's going to come into play in the second half of the season, but here at the Nürburgring, we're still not quite sure, after 26 laps, how much fuel the leading cars have got on board. Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari, Ralf Schumacher in the Williams, and here Juan Montoya still closing down the gap, taking 0.3 of a second out of the leading duo, who are now approaching more lap traffic in the form of Luciano Berti. I should just tell you, along with Tarso Marquez, Olivier Panis has now retired from this race, so just 2 retirements after 27 laps.
I think I would, I think I would definitely do that. He's clearly got a faster car. Michael takes to it. Yes, they're both Schumachers then pitting at the same time. Curious response there from Williams, because it's a straight fight between the mechanics now when they appear to me to have a faster car.
So they come down, hit the 60km/h speed board, and this could change the lead of the European Grand Prix. Let's watch it. Ralf arrives.
Lock brakes for Ralf. He's overshot his pit a little bit of an aggressive arrival that puts his mechanics very much on their back foot, and it's not a quick stop for Williams. Ralf came in too hard, too hot, and everybody steps back just as they should be stepping forwards, and it's compromised him. And look, there goes Coulthard. Coulthard will clear Ralf Schumacher. He will not clear Michael Schumacher. So
Montoya leads the motor race then. Juan Montoya leads the European Grand Prix ahead of Michael Schumacher, with David Coulthard in 3rd place, Ralf Schumacher 4th, and Mika Hakkinen in 5th. So it's all turning around now. The question, of course, also Montoya, I can see the Williams mechanics are back out again with tyres for Montoya, so he will soon lose that lead that he has. But how much fuel have the McLarens got on board? How far are they going to go? Lap 28 that stop was on, which is pretty much the back end of a 2-stop window, and they took on about 8 seconds of fuel, so they are both 2-stopping. How much fuel have the McLarens got? They can probably go to about lap 40 if they're carrying 1-stop fuel.
We have to assume that Ralf Schumacher had to come in on that lap, because it doesn't make any sense to me that he did, and the fact that the very next time around Montoya is in too suggests that they had both chosen the identical laps. That's both the Schumacher brothers to pit. The amount of fuel, they don't carry a kilo more than they have to, as Montoya rather more cautiously approaches the box, and some very old tyres going on that car too. So scrub tyres once again. Look, they look like you'd throw them away, let alone put them on a car that was leading a Grand Prix.
They look more like they should be coming off than going on, but that's what I was talking about before. Michelin needing to use tyres that have done a 10 or 15 laps, and that looks like, yes it is, Michael Schumacher regains the lead. Coulthard 2nd, Ralf Schumacher in 3rd place. Montoya now dropped down to 4th. Entirely predictable. Montoya not able in that 1 lap that he had of freedom to make enough time up to get the lead back, but he was only a couple of seconds out, wasn't he, Martin? So you have only seen just half of this race as we see a replay of Juan Montoya almost clipping the back of Coulthard. He seemed to close up pretty tight behind him. Just over half distance then, you ain't seen nothing yet. Michael Schumacher leading, Ralf Schumacher's 5.1 seconds behind him, Coulthard 3rd, Montoya 4th, Barrichello 5th, Eddie Irvine still holding on in 6th place for Jaguar.
Bernaldi, Panis and Marquez, the 3 retirements from earlier on in the race. No other significant events, and a McLaren in the pit lane.
It's Coulthard, David Coulthard then making his one and only scheduled stop, and Ted Kravitz is down in the McLaren garage.
Yes, James, I'm right next to Coulthard. The hose goes on. I'm actually measuring the time that the hose is connected to the car. That is crucial, because that tells you how much fuel's going into it. And I'm looking towards the last corner to see if Michael Schumacher crosses the finish line now. now. Coulthard's out. Let's see what he can do.
Well, Schumacher leading this race from his brother Ralph rather, but where is Coulthard going to end up? Is Barrichello going to get him? I don't think so.
Yeah, it was Barrichello who went down the pit straight actually, and Barrichello has taken Coulthard, but Barrichello yet to stop. They're both on a one-stopper, and we think there's a stop and go penalty for car 5, which is Ralf Schumacher for crossing a white line. I assume that's the white line on the exit of the pits. Haven't seen that rule played for a long time. So Ralf Schumacher then, it is a fact, has a 10-second stop and go penalty. Means he's got to negotiate the pit lane. Now you can see it on the screen, and he's taking it straight away. It's going to cost him about 24 seconds. He will go to his pit, and he must be stationary under the control of his men for a full 10 seconds. He has to obey all of the speed limits. They cannot work on that car in any way, shape or form. McLaren mechanics rushing out to clear their pneumatic hoses out of the way, and Ralph, that is the longest 10 seconds of your life.
Enormous frustration for Williams and for Ralf Schumacher. He was in second place. This is going to drop him down behind Juan Montoya, behind Coulthard, and possibly behind Barrichello as well.
Now look, I'll try and point the white line out to you as he exits. Let's make sure he doesn't go over it again. There's a white line, now you can see it to his left, where you must not join the racing line or the race track. You must stay inside that, and clearly he bolted straight out onto the racing line. It's not a very elegant pit exit here, and they try to keep the cars channeled to the first corner.
We're looking at a replay then of Hakkinen just letting Michael Schumacher go past, and it's a sad sight to see Mika Hakkinen like this, Martin. What's going through his mind now? He's had such a miserable start to the season, just 8 points in 8 races. Do you think he's planning on packing it in at the end of the year?
Well, I doubt it, but we saw Norbert Haug, the boss man of Mercedes-Benz motor racing division there, just throwing his arms up in the air saying, what is going on? You know, it's a big event. You know, McLaren being lapped by Ferrari is a very, very significant event, as you see the Williams mechanics getting ready for one of their 2 men. Remember, and that must be Frentzen, because Trulli is already out of the race, of course, so both Jordans now then. That makes the 5th retirement of this Grand Prix. Frentzen, Trulli, and he joins. And we got a Ferrari in the pits, James.
Well, we might well have a Williams as well. It's not going to be quite the race it was last time, but Michael Schumacher coming in, he had an 8.4 second lead. So Juan Montoya, who stopped 2 laps after him first time round, and he's making the stop at the same time this time around. So what's going to happen here? Michael Schumacher expected to get out in front, just missing the back of Montoya. Nice synchronized swimming there between the two. Montoya diving in there to his pit box from second place. He should be able to rejoin just in front of his teammate Ralf Schumacher. That's obviously what his intention is. Where is Ralf? Where is Ralf? Top of the screen there. Will Montoya be able to get out in front of him? Looks like he might do it. That's a Sauber actually. Ralf obviously has fallen a little way behind, I think.
Ralph's just gone past the window, James, as you're looking at the screen. So Montoya maintains his position. Ralph's got to stop again. Yeah, remember, that'll be Ralph's 3rd stop of the afternoon. 2 for tyres and fuel, 1 for crossing the white line, a violation of the regulations. So Montoya looking very, very secure in second place. Can he give Michael Schumacher a run to the end of the Grand Prix? That is Frentzen locking up a wheel down at the Dunlop hairpin and then losing the car on the exit. Curious, wasn't it? It just suddenly snapped away from him. Surely has got some hot brakes, and that then is a Lacey dropping out on the 65th lap of the race. In the Prost, of course, a Lacey, I would imagine that's down at the hairpin, turn 5, can't quite see it at the moment. Probably outbraked himself on the way in. Jean Alesi out of the race.
Michael Schumacher, though, is on his final lap. He's backed off. His last lap was a lot slower than that of Juan Montoya. He's not worried anymore about the threat from the Colombian, as we watch again Alesi trying a do-or-die manoeuvre down the inside of Kimi Raikkonen. That was for 10th place. And Alesi, well, you've got to love a trier, haven't you? Even at this stage of the race and down in 10th place, he's giving it absolutely everything. Poor old Jean. Well, maybe in Magny-Cours, your home circuit, in a couple of weeks, you'll have a better day. But you couldn't have a much better day than this man, Michael Schumacher. They're spraying the champagne already in the grandstands. It's going to be his 49th career victory. He's now just 2 behind the all-time record of Alain Prost. What a magnificent racing driver he is as he comes out of the pit curve for the final final time. The air horns are sounding. The red, yellow and black flags are flying in the grandstands. And Michael Schumacher coming up towards the Vidal chicane to complete what has been a memorable European Grand Prix for him and for Ferrari. He was on pole position. He had a great fight from his brother for the first 25 laps, but then that challenge faded away. Michael rose to the occasion, and Michael Schumacher wins the European Grand Prix, his 5th victory of the 2001 season. Well done.
And he's pleased too, isn't he? And so he should be. That was really a stunning performance. And there then Montoya has taken that 2nd place. So 6 World Championship points for him. Coulthard will comfortably be on the podium. And that's a save. That's a result for David Coulthard this afternoon. And the strategy did pay off for McLaren. It did bring him into about as much contention as he was going to be in today. And luckily for him, Ralph had that extra stop and go penalty. But Coulthard made it stick in the middle of the race when he needed to. Had a bit of extra pace at the end. And a somewhat dejected Ralph then. 4th place, he won't even be up there on the podium. And he'll be disappointed with that, to say the least. Because Michael Schumacher, in the end, dominated this race. It shows that he won by 4.2 seconds, but he was swanning around the last lap. Coulthard 3rd, then Ralf Schumacher 4th, Barrichello, scruffy afternoon in 5th, Hakkinen taking that final point. Irvine and De La Rosa, Jaguar 7th and 8th, looking down there a bit, Fisichella 11th, Bertie in the Prost 12th, Button then 13th, Alonso Alesi still classified as a finisher despite that big brave manoeuvre to try to pass Raikkonen for 10th place. And here then are the retirements: Verstappen, Heidfeld, Frentzen, Trulli, Bernoldi, Panis and Marquez.